Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As N'Golo Kante said in that famous video, ladies and gentlemen, it's match day. It's now match evening. We are about an hour and 8 minutes away from Celtic's match day 4 in the Champions League, which is Celtic against Atletico Madrid at the Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid. Tony, today I'm delighted to be joined once again by Tony on the second of 3 shows tonight. Tony, how are you doing?
Just big up to the young man there, 11 out of 11 in the team formation or the predicted lineup. I would probably have done the same myself. We spoke about it this morning, didn't we? And I said Bernardo was the only kind of one that you would have had a major call on. No, cause there was questions whether Iwata or Iod and Thiago home. You could argue the case for them all, but he's gone with Bernardo. And that's the team that you picked. So I didn't do a predicted 11 because I was still off on holiday. But big up to you, young man. Well done. And I don't think we've any complaints about that team. As for how I'm doing, I'll let you know in a couple of hours. But
the result dependent, isn't it? That is the term that's always used.
Always excited for a Champions League night. Doesn't matter who Celtic are playing. So bring it on. That's what I say. It's match day. Dilly ding, dilly dong. It's a Champions League. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get started and talk in depth about the team that Brendan Rodgers has named, it came out around about 8 minutes ago now. if I can get my voice back there. As always, this video is brought to you by MPH Group. We thank them for sponsoring both our pre and post match as well as the morning briefings. They are Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. Winter's rolling in, and if you're looking at giving your home heating system a boost, MPH has an enticing Navien Boiler Winter Promotion just for you. When you opt for a Navien boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top-tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller. This little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top, they're covering the first year's service at no added costs. If you're wondering why Navien, they're gunning for the Product of the Year at the H&V News Awards, the Oscars of the heating world. And to top it all off, the Navien ON range comes with a 12-year parts and labour warranty. That's some serious peace of mind right there. Big shout out to MPH as well. They're nominated for Small Company of the Year at the same awards. Excellence recognises excellence, right? MPH even offers flexible finance options, so gear up for the chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navien. All the links are in the description below, and we thank them once again for sponsoring our videos. Just going into the team now, just straight away. Not going to give myself too much praise, but 11 out of 11 in the predicted lineups. That's available on the website if you want to read about why I came to the decision of picking the same players that Brendan Rodgers did. I'm not saying I'm Brendan Rodgers or anything like that, but I'm glad that he's went for this team. Just I think the main talking points are the players that have came back into the team. The players that weren't playing at the weekend. Kyogo's came back in, Luis Palmas came back in, Matt O'Reilly's came back into the fold, and a couple of players have retained their spots as well, such as Taylor and specifically Bernardo in the midfield. Just straight off the bat, what do you make of that team?
It's the strongest team, isn't it, that I think we could have played?
Agree.
Yeah, maybe Odin Thiago home at a push if you really want to. But I think that's the strongest team that Celtic, Brendan Rodgers could have put out there. Strong bench as well. Got guys to come on that can affect that, impact it if need be. And I think he was just rotating the team on Saturday against Ross County, knowing that this was coming up on Tuesday, and all the players that came on, they all had an impact, didn't they? And he'll be expecting the same. But these are tried and tested players, so this is the strongest lineup, I think. It's the team I think most people would have played, isn't it? I say this morning, only Bernardo was the big question mark, wasn't it? It's a big question mark, but probably your only decision. The other 10 pick themselves, really, don't they? Let's be honest.
If they're fit, if they were fit, and we knew that there was no injuries coming into the game, so I think a lot of the positions do pick themselves.
Yeah, so I said to you this morning, if that was the team, I wouldn't be perturbed. I'm not perturbed. If Odin Thiago Home was in, or Iwata was in where Bernardo was, I wouldn't be perturbed either. So I'm happy, and I don't know, you just not basing it on anything, but you just get a feeling that Celtic might do something. Don't know why, but I just think that I think Atletico Madrid underestimated Celtic at the home game. They really did, and I think I'm hoping that Celtic can catch them cold again, because they'll expect it to be a shoe-in at home. And as we said this morning, Celtic have to stay in it, Ryan, past the hour mark and past the 70-minute mark. If they're still in it at that point in this game, then they've got a right good chance. And I implore them to do that. Just stay in this, and if you can get yourself ahead and have something to defend, then all the better. But don't make it over as a contest in the first 15 or 20 minutes. And you know what I mean by that. They have a penchant for conceding 2 and 3 at a time, don't they? When they go away from home, and you've seen it before. So I just want them to stay in this contest for as long as they can. And if they stay in it for as long as they can and get to an hour, 70 minutes, and it's still goalless or it's still a draw, then my confidence will grow. And, they've never won in Spanish soil, Ryan. It's time for that to be, that balance to be
time for heroes.
Yeah, time for that balance to be redressed, and time for Celtic to actually get the rub of the green at some point.
That's what Brendan Rodgers was talking about as well. The results haven't been there, the performances have been there, but the results haven't been there. And the points that they probably deserve, aren't there?
Yeah, maybe fluke a win or something, or eke it out, or just, get that, by hook or by crook, do it. And I think nights like this, when you least expect it, are the times when it happens. When it could happen, when it might happen. So I don't fear this at all. If they get cuffed, then people just shrug their shoulder and say, well, the enormity of the task. This is a right good side you're up against, an absolute top draw side, and you went toe-to-toe with them at Celtic Park, so there's no reason to suggest that they can't do that again. And that team lineup heartens me. I think it's the strongest team that the Celtic could have played. And go and have a rip at it, Ryan. Let's do it. Let's shatter that historical fact the same way they did in Rome a few years ago.
No formational changes as well. A lot of people would be quite tempted to go and play 5 at the back at the Metropolitano. It's an intimidating ground. It'll be an intimidating atmosphere as well, which could prompt a manager to change the way that he thinks. Don't think Brendan Rodgers is of that mentality anymore. He was talking yesterday about maintaining that style, even if they have to play a different style, maintaining the Celtic style, regardless of the formation that they play, regardless of the players and the personnel that are on the pitch. That play style will stay the same, whether it's Ross County they're playing, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, any of these teams, they'll play the same. Yes, there'll be some small tweaks, as you would expect, maybe a wee bit more tweaks than Ange Postecoglou would have made in Europe, but he had a totally different mindset and play style than Brendan Rodgers. Yes, there are some similarities, but I think Brendan Rodgers is more savvy tactically in Europe with small tweaks to be made in games, but that play style will still remain. They might play more defensive in some games, they might play more offensively, but that play style will always be there regardless. And that consistency is just so important, especially when you're trying to carve out an identity for Celtic in Europe. Would you agree with that, Tony?
Without a doubt, yeah. I thought you were going to burst into song there. Barcelona, Real Madrid, who are you trying to kid type thing. Yes, indeed. We know Celtic are not the greatest football team in the world, but we still think that they are. So there you go. But yeah, completely and utterly agree with you. I think, you're seeing an identity with Celtic this season in the Champions League. They have I agree wholeheartedly with the manager. I've noticed improvement in every game, Ryan. And see if they don't get a result, I'll settle for an improvement again in the level of performance, because you are up against a real heavyweight, a European heavyweight here. And if they get a result to go with the performance, then that's conclusive evidence that Celtic are progressing in Europe, and Brendan Rodgers has put his stamp on this team, and they are fastly gaining an identity on this on the European stage and platform. And I was pleased with them the way they competed in Rotterdam. Couldn't believe that they get mugged in Glasgow against Lazio. It's the nature of football, though. That's the nature of football at this level. You switch off at any given time, and that's what happens. But I've been, and against Atletico Madrid, that's one of the best 45 minutes I've seen Celtic play in Europe in a long, long time. Pace, tempo, the 2 goals that they scored were terrific, and it took an elite level manager to sort it out at half-time with his changes, which was very respectful to Celtic, having probably given them a bit of disrespect by thinking they could turn up at Celtic Park and just run over the top of them, and was pleasantly surprised by how Celtic could play and the way they zipped the ball about that night at Celtic Park. So, yep, I think you're watching a manager who also is a work in progress with Celtic in Europe this time around. And we've said it since he came in. He's an elite level manager and he's making these tweaks to give Celtic that identity in Europe. And you might not see the fruits of his labours this season in Europe, but hopefully you'll see it next season. Keep that same nucleus of players together and they will show that they've learned in this stage very much so, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you can you hear me just now, Tony? Maybe
Yeah.
if you refresh, could you potentially? I'll refresh my page actually and come back in because my internet's going on and off a wee bit. Let me just refresh. If you can just maybe just talk about the team just for a wee second, and I'll refresh. 2 seconds.
Sure, no bother at all. Now, that was the team that Ryan picked on his predicted 11, so I bigged them up at the start of the programme. Guys, is that the team that you thought would play? Did you start or shout in the comment section? Let me know if there was any tweaks or changes you would have made to that team. Anybody you would like to see come in? I saw a couple of people maybe mention that Turnbull dropping out and Turnbull having scored 2 and 2. People thought he might have kept his place. He's always good for a long-range goal, but it's still the team that Ryan and I would probably have picked, or certainly Ryan picked it. But yeah, I'm happy with that team, Ryan and I. And I think the manager is also big on performance as well. It's not just results. If he can see improvement, then I think he's confident that Celtic will eventually. You kick the door in, it eventually open, doesn't it? So, and I think this is as hard a test as it gets for Celtic. Let's be honest. In the Metropolitano tonight against a team who are quality. They were quality at Celtic Park, especially that second half. But I maintain that first half Celtic went toe-to-toe with them and produced some top draw European football. Best I've seen in a long, long time. And those 2 goals that they scored were terrific and, carved them open. And I was really pleased with that because you don't come up against that calibre of opposition all the time, and to see Celtic play like that, it was heartening, and you were excited about where Rodgers can take this team in the future. And so tonight's just another one of those, chalk it up and experience a partisan crowd, a real theatre, a real venue, for football, and go and enjoy it, go and embrace it, and see where it takes you. That you said yourself, on nights like this, unlikely heroes are born. History's made. Celtic are all about history, aren't they? And making it, breaking records, and doing all sorts of stuff. So why not tonight?
Celtic have beaten better teams than Atletico Madrid in the Champions League in previous years before. That's what I'm going to say. Yes, they are a very technically savvy, a streetwise team that Celtic maybe they can learn a couple of things from. I'm not going to say learn everything from them because there's elements of their game that, just as a casual observer of football that you don't like because they play to the referee, they play for decisions in certain areas of the pitch, but they're streetwise, and I think Celtic could learn a couple of things from them with regard to, killing time, doing it legally, of course. But you watch a Simeone team, you watch how he operates. They stifle teams. They get results by playing ugly. And Celtic don't need to play the Celtic way the whole time. I know that's the name of what we do, but Celtic don't need to play the Celtic way all the time. They need to be smart and use the resources that they've got available to them. I'd love to beat Atletico Madrid at their own game tonight. That's what I would absolutely love to see. I'd love Celtic to sort of creak their way to a win in the Metropolitano, playing the way that they would play. That would really satisfy me.
Are you talking about dark arts, Ryan? You want Celtic
absolutely
to go there and beat them in their own midden, as they would say in Glasgow?
You see, we've seen countless teams come to Celtic Park in years gone by. They get away with it because the referees don't punish it, and I just think if you can't beat them at their own game, then join them in their own game. You don't need to go about and diving all over the place, but there are ways of slowing the game down if they need to do so. Use the resources that are available to them. Try and slow the game down if Atletico Madrid are on the ascendancy in the game. You're playing away from home. It's going to be difficult. I'm not saying to go out and just play all the dark arts, everything in the dark art textbook, but you can learn a few things from these teams. There's a reason why they're winners. It's because these tactics sometimes work. I'm not saying for Celtic to go out and play like that, but there's a couple of things that they could learn from, in my opinion.
Let's see how much they've learned from the first leg then, or the tie in Glasgow, and see if they can take that into their performance. Because I don't disagree with you. I just think you have to be more streetwise and a bit more savvy and know what they're going to get up to, and be aware of it. Try and preempt it if you can. And I think all of those things, that's a baying mob, isn't it? That crowd, it really is. They're as partisan as Celtic fans are. So I love spectacles like this, Ryan. I don't know about you, but these get my juices flowing. And yep, I fully expect the crowd to be wound up to a state of fever pitch. But see, if I'm a footballer, that's the arena I want to go in. That I want to beat them in their own backyard. I'm desperate to do that, and I think every Celtic player, and I say this a lot, go and puff your chest out. You're playing for the green and white of Celtic, a name renowned in Europe. Go and claim that scalp. That would send, that would reverberate around Europe, and that your first ever win on Spanish soil. Go and make
massive
history. Yeah, a lot of things. A lot of managers make a point of saying, we're here to honour the history makers of the past, but we want to create our own history. What a way to announce that tonight and create your own history under Brendan Rodgers and get that first win in Spanish soil. I would love it for this group of players. I would love it for the managers, but I would just love it for the fact that you're back in with a shout in that group. If you do that, you would just throw the ultimate spanner in the works. And I don't care how they do it. I've said, as you said, match them with the dark arts and stuff. See if they fluke a win. Who cares? Just go and do it. And but play to the best of your ability. We've got players that can hurt them as well. They're mindful of that now. Diego Simeone spoke about Celtic and his pre-match pressure, and I think he gave them real food for thought in Glasgow. And as I say, we go back to the 2 goals that they scored, and they're 2 of the best goals you'll see in the Champions League this season. Carved them open, and so yeah. And the form book suggests otherwise. Get all that. Don't care. Never paid attention to form books in my life. You know what I mean? It's just like,
absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
I'm just going to bring up this comment. It was made 7 minutes ago by Aidan. Thank you for coming into the show and giving your comment and giving your say. Bernardo was an absolute workhorse against them at home. Did more pressing than Maeda. Statistically true. Yes, that is the case. You've got 44 pressures. That's one of those stats that I'm going to remember for a very, very long time. Stands out. I know you've got the Henrik Larsson goals stuck in your head.
2-4-2 and 3-15. Yeah, indeed.
There you go. Just shoot it in just like that. Now, I'm not saying Paulo Bernardo's anywhere near the player that Henrik Larsson was, but that stat really did stand out, especially against high quality opposition. Iwata likes to break up the play as opposed to pressing. I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest. I think that's something that Celtic could rely on in the second half when there's tired legs out there. You need maybe a destroyer in the team. Not that I'm calling Iwata a destroyer. I don't think he's maybe big enough to be a destroyer. I think he's a better football player than that, but you need somebody that's going to just
Ryan, Perry should thought you're in a winning position. You need to protect it. And the manager's good with substitutions. He knows how to get results from those kind of situations. He did it at Celtic Park. People were querying why he brought Nat Phillips on. We highlighted that this morning. He was protecting what he had. Now, Celtic, it might, if all goes to plan, at some point have to protect what they have. Iwata can do that. If he has to.
So, you can push McGregor further up forward and then put Iwata as a number 6.
I'm all for that. I'd love to be in that position. What a substitution that would be if you're protecting a 1-goal lead or whatever, or Dreamland 2-goal lead, something like that. I mean, how good would that be? So, you allow yourself. These are the nights for eternal dreamers. I keep telling you, I'm the ultimate dreamer. In 2 hours, that might be shattered. But that doesn't stop me from dreaming beforehand and saying Celtic can win this game. You know, and I know all the reality, and I know they've not won in the last 13. Last win was at Anderlecht 3-0 away 2017 under Rodgers. I get all that, and I'm vastly aware of it, but I go all hand solo at this. Don't tell me the odds. Because I don't care. I genuinely don't care. It's Celtic in the Champions League, and if they can raise their game, they're a match for anybody, and on any stage. So
Without a doubt.
and I look at that team, and I'm buoyed by that. I'm delighted at that. I'm excited by it, and I want to see us keep improving in this stage, because the only way you'll get better on this stage is to pick your wits against these kind of teams at this level, in these cauldrons, in these arenas, and go and do yourself a favour and get that first win on Spanish soil. I just think it would work wonders for the confidence, and it would vindicate the manager in the way he's talking about progression, because this team is progressing. It's not progressing, and well, it is progressing to my eyes, to my eyes that I'm watching. Might not be progression in terms of the points yielded, but there's more to it than that. You have to start being savvy and learn how to play at this level. And I think when you learn how to play at this level, then results will inevitably come once you iron out all the kind of stuff that we all say every year you need to learn from. And they're starting to show signs of increasingly learning from. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to be the main man tonight for Celtic, Tony? Who do you reckon? And while you tell me that, I want everybody in the comment section to give your score prediction. Doesn't matter if it's a win, lose, or draw. I want to hear it. Be as honest, be as realistic, or dream as much as you want. But please just put it in the comment section, and we'll endeavour to bring up as many as we can. What are you thinking? What's the score going to be? Who's going to be the first goal scorer? Whether it's for Celtic or Atletico Madrid, you can name whoever you want. Just please put it in the comment section, and we'll endeavour to bring up as many as we can. Who's going to be the main man tonight for Celtic, Tony?
I'm going Kyogo to get that Joe Craig score 3-3. First man to do that in the European Cup Champions League since 1977. I think Kyogo's a man, and I think Palmer will be ably assisting with Matt O'Reilly playing his part as well. But yeah, I think Kyogo could score. Don't know if it'll be 1-0 to Celtic, but I think Kyogo will score at some point. I'm hesitant to say a scoreline because I just, a lot depends on how they play. And I watched
Jinxes don't exist, Tony. Jinxes don't exist.
Yeah,
you make your own luck.
I watched an expert at work in Griezmann at Celtic Park. I just marvelled at his talent. I just thought he was wonderful. What a technician! Just what a footballer!
Facilitator.
I was never, not so much I was never really convinced. I'd never really studied him in depth till he came to Celtic Park, and I looked and I thought, my goodness, what a talent you are! And it was just everything that he did was just, it's a joy to watch. And you talk about, maybe we had this kind of discussion about, do you applaud players, opposition players off the park and stuff like that? But I would have applauded Griezmann that night. I thought he was sensational in it, and I reserved that for extra special footballers. And I just worry about tonight what he could produce, because he's an extra special footballer and a wonderful talent. But again, I go back to Celtic. I've got wonderful talents in their ranks as well, guys that are capable of hurting Atletico. So go and do it, see what happens.
Just having a wee look at their team. Their team's been announced as well on live score. Jimenez does make the team. They're, in my opinion, their star centre back, Jose Jimenez, who plays for Uruguay. He's a phenomenal centre back. Really does understand the game very, very well. Angel Correa comes in. He was the player that came on late on in the game, the small winger, but he's been there for absolutely ages. I think it's been 7-8 years he's been at the club now, so he's a stalwart for Atletico Madrid, whether that be on the bench or starting. Griezmann and Morata both play from the start, as does Koke. Jan Oblak obviously in goals, Axel Witsel playing at the back as well. I was wondering if he was maybe going to play as a defensive midfielder, but live score has him as a centre back. I wonder if he'll maybe play as a holding midfielder alongside Koke just ahead of him. But we'll see that as the game starts. I'm going to bring up some of the comments that have been made. I'm going to bring up the realistic one because I think it's important to bring those ones up as well. Regardless of what you're thinking about the game, it's opinions are opinions. Honest, realistic Mantis Toboggan says, honest, realistic 3-1 Atletico Madrid. Not a disaster by any stretch. The one goal suggests that maybe Celtic are in the game for a good amount of time, but you want Celtic to be getting something out of this game. My ball says 2-1 Scales, 2-1 Celtic. Scales going to score every goal in the game. Hopefully not own goals and goals. 2-1 to Celtic. Scales' first goal. Be a great way to open his account this season. Head says 2 each. Heart says 2-0 Celtic. Wow. Judging on the way the game goes, I'd take either one of those results, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yep.
Cathal Quinn says 1-0 Celtic. Alistair Johnson to score would be a great way for him to get back on form. Hazel Finn, 2-1 Celtic, always a dreamer. Jerry O'Rourke, 1-0 Celtic. Kyogo. Yep, we're all dreamers here, I think. 1-0 Celtic, Kyogo, last gasp goal. Kevin Slav, Celtic to win 3-2. Palmer first goal scorer. Kyogo 2-1. 3-1 Celtic. I think Griezmann will score. That's I don't know how short your odds would be for any betting company. He's one of the best players on the park. There's absolutely loads of people. We can't answer absolutely everybody, but thank you to everybody that's given a comment.
Ryan, see, when you're positive, people give you positive vibes as well. Lots of people saying Celtic will win this game. Good on you. I admire that optimism and faith. And you just don't know, do you? That's the thing.
No, we don't know until the game has kicked off and we see what's happening in the game. Then we'll know at halftime and then at full time as well. But while we're here, we can be optimistic. You can be optimistic, you can be pessimistic, you can be whatever you want. But the game's ahead of you. We don't know what's going to happen in the game. So, why not be positive? If you're going to be negative, then why not just be positive instead? Because you're going to be disappointed if you're pessimistic and then. People are wired differently. I get that. I totally understand that. But I'm going to go into this positive with a positive frame of mind. Celtic can get something from this game. Until they can, if you get what I mean. Some more comments here. 2 each draw. Palmer and Matt O'Reilly. Diving header from Hart in the 97th minute. Why are we pushing for a winner in the 97th minute? Hart do they know we need a win in this group? That'd be an incredible sight if so. Michael Ross says 3 points are a must. He's probably adding on to his comment earlier. 3 points is an absolute must in this. If Celtic are wanting European football after Christmas, put the cat amongst the pigeons, Tony. Isn't that right? We were talking about that today. Put that cat amongst the pigeons and get yourself back in this group.
Yeah, Danny Hargan coming in. He is on the bench, Danny. Home is on the bench. So just to answer that one.
He is.
And Brown Warrior.
And so is Stephen Welsh. Good to see Stephen Welsh back in and around the team, returning from injury. That's a very good sight to see. Hopefully his recuperation has gone well. And, he didn't even have time to celebrate his new deal because he got injured the day after, which is, there was a lot of question marks about him getting a new deal. But as a Scottish homegrown player, they're in short supply of players that have that first team experience as well. So, if he's happy with his lot, if he's happy coming in and out of the team, he'll be on a decent wage for doing so, then I've got absolutely no problem. So I'm delighted to see him back on the bench. Cope Ridgeboy as well. Hopefully we don't need him tonight because, that would mean maybe an injury crisis or a change in shape or whatever. But, it's good to see him back on the bench.
Brown Warrior coming in, just wants Celtic to play like a Champions League team against Atletico, regardless of the score. Tony and Ryan, yep, I agree. The manager said they're not here to be the support act. Go and prove that, go and show that. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Celtic continue this gradual incline in terms of performance, display and improvement and progress. Luke Pitt coming in and saying, Palmer's got the superstar quality to get a goal without a doubt. Palmer and Kyogo dies enforcing the errors. Well, there we go. Lots of optimistic Celtic supporters pre-game. I enjoy that. I like that. Admire that. Hazel Finn, really hope the stars align for Celtic tonight. It wouldn't be before time. I said that myself. I think they'll do a huge slice of luck at some point in this competition because it's been pretty wretched at times for Celtic in the Champions League. And why not tonight, Ryan? Why not?
Why not? The time is now for Celtic to break these unwanted records in the competition. Brendan Rodgers won't want that awful record of being statistically the worst manager in the Champions League. I think that stat is a bit lopsided because you need to take a certain amount of games in the Champions League in order to get that accolade on you. he's playing at the highest level. That's not a slight on him. It's the fact that he's played games both for a relatively poor Liverpool side by the end of it when they did get into the Champions League, and the first time with Celtic, and in this second time as well. They're always going to be the underdogs in the Champions League, unfortunately, but you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to take the opportunities when they come, and I'd love that record to look a wee bit better in a couple of hours' time, because that means that a good result has transpired.
You'll see me on the ceiling in a couple of hours' time if Celtic shatter this Spanish soil hoodoo. You'll need to scrape me off the roof here. And my young Paddy's lying beside me. He'll be doing cartwheels as well, no doubt. And I would encourage that, to be fair. Listen, these things are statistics, history, records. They're made to be broken. And I don't know, there's something, and I think that the supporters are feeling it as well. Something ripe in the air tonight for that record to topple, and Celtic never having won in Spain. Let's reign in Spain, right? Let's do it. Come on. Just say to the boys, go out there and, give it your all. And if it's not good enough, then we accept that the challenge that you're up against, because they're a wonderful football team, there's no getting away from it. They're top draw, and they have a top draw
manager. They're tight-knit as well. They're tight-knit. The players that have been there have been about for a wee while now. Koke's been there. I think he's been there his whole career. Correa's been there for the large majority of his senior career. Griezmann's been there, went away, then came back. That Barcelona period was a real challenging one for him, but he came back. Morata's been there and came back. He's played for both Madrid sides as well as Juventus and Chelsea too. So, but a lot of the players know their surroundings. It's that tight-knit. And I want Celtic to be like that in a couple of years' time. I want there to be a couple of players that have been there for 3-4 years, have grown as football players, and are then taken on teams with that tight-knit sort of hive mind mentality.
Yeah, Marquis comes in and says, come on, Tony, Celtic beat Real Madrid in Spain. He's counting it. He's talking about the Alfredo Di Stefano testimonial, isn't he, in 1967 with Bobby Lennox.
The Jimmy Johnson game?
Yeah, the Jimmy Johnson game, yeah. I wouldn't mind Lewis Palmer having a Jimmy Johnson game tonight in the Metropolitano. So, yeah. But, listen, miracles happen in football. We all believe in miracles, don't we? I certainly do. So let's just pit your wits against, as I say, a heavyweight and take them on in the rain gaff, in the rain.
I thought that was a wee bit of hot chocolate coming on there. I believe in miracles. I'm not going to sing the other words, but it was the start of it. I thought I could hear that in my head. I thought you were going to get the karaoke mic out.
I was thinking of the older version, but there you go. Not by hot chocolate. Celtic dying me, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. An older version than I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to stop.
It's not the same song, so it's a different song.
Right. I get you.
It's the one that was for the Nottingham Forest.
Right.
The Jackson Sisters. I couldn't remember for the life of me who sang it there. So, yeah, the Jackson Sisters. That's a better version, right? So that's a better song, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is why we're in this competition. To see Celtic compete at this level, you want them to compete at this level. A top 4 team, 3 teams above you are quality. That's the bottom line. And they don't come much higher quality than Atletico Madrid, who will be there or thereabouts come the final shake-up of this tournament. We'll take a right good team to knock them out. But listen, all I want is Celtic to compete, go toe-to-toe, and I think Brown Warrior said it, prove that you belong in the Champions League, be a Champions League team, and just, take whatever opportunities come your way. And if you can do that, who knows, you might give them the fright of their life, and like you did in Glasgow, and take it from there. And that's what I want to see first and foremost. Manager said they're not here to be a support act. Don't be a support act.
Absolutely not. Fingers crossed that Celtic stay in the game long enough to, have that opportunity. I want to be talking about those opportunities that Celtic have and the opportunities that they take in the game. I want to be talking about goals tonight. I don't want to be talking about goals against necessarily. I think Celtic will concede tonight. I think that is it's probably quite customary for Atletico Madrid to be scoring goals, especially in their home ground. But I want Celtic to score more goals than Atletico Madrid tonight. I know you are all looking for some insightful analysis, and here's me saying I want Celtic to score more goals than Atletico Madrid. It's as simple as that. Go and score those goals and make sure you keep it tight at the back. It's simple. I know I love my analytics and my statistics and metrics and all that, but just keep it simple. Keep it tight at the back. Take your chances when they come, and you never know. Not miracle. I'm not going to say miracles because I want Celtic to win it, just by their own great performance, not by the skin of their teeth. I want people to be raving again about Celtic in the 90th minute when they get a result tonight. If they get a result tonight, I want to be hearing about a good performance. I don't want to hear about these hard lines. I want Celtic to go out and do the business tonight. Get yourself back into this group. I know it's difficult. I know the opposition that Celtic are facing, but at the same time, stranger things have happened. That's all I'm going to say. The 7th of November is a very, very special date in Celtic's European history. 2012, they beat Barcelona 2-1 at Celtic Park. 2019, they beat Lazio away from home in the Olympic Stadium. I think it was away from home. I know they beat them home and away. I think it was the away one. The 7th of November is a very, very special date. Hopefully they can make it 3 from 3, and hopefully Kyogo can make it 3 from 3 for his goal scoring exploits in the Champions League. What have you got to make about that?
Are you saying remember the 7th of November? Is that what you're telling us to do?
And I'm stealing somebody's tweet that they put out earlier on today, but I thought it was that great that it needed to be mentioned again.
Okay, let's make it a hat trick of 7th of November memorable wins. Ajax 82 says Maestro 95. So was that the 7th of November? Possibly.
I'm not sure.
We'll check that out. I'll check that out. But I remember Celtic winning against Ajax in 1982. George McCluskey last minute goal after one of the best goals ever scored by a Celtic player in Europe, Charlie Nicholas. Great goal. Wonderful team that Celtic put out that night.
29th of September. No, 29th. 29th of September, that game was.
The away game?
Ajax v Celtic, 2-1 Celtic, 29th of September 1982.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I remember that. So, listen, history in Europe with Celtic, there's lots of times that Celtic have risen to the plate, stepped up to the plate and risen to the challenge and defied the odds and won remarkably so. So, this would be Celtic's best result ever in the Champions League. It would eclipse Barcelona in 2012. It really would. You have to say it would, because they will have achieved it away from home, and it's not in Celtic's nature to do these kind of things away from home. I'm talking about the Champions League. I'm not talking about the European Cup before people come in and say they did this and that. But it would be Celtic's best result ever in the Champions League. It would have to be. So that's the kind of history you're playing for tonight. That's
best away result for sure.
Yeah, that's what that is. I keep banging on about. That's the community and the cause that you're fighting for tonight, as Tommy Burns once said. That kind of stuff, that gives you that extra spurt. That makes you puff out the chest. That makes you say, bring it on. Let's embrace it. And if we go down, we go down fighting, playing the Celtic way with a wee bit of dark arts thrown in, as you say, just to try and play Atletico.
Fire with fire. Game.
Yeah, so I'm all for that. And I'm all for these things, hoodoo's been shattered and all that kind of stuff. As I say, I don't care about the form book. If you were to stick to the form book, then you may as well not turn up. Because the form book says you'll get a drub 3 or 4-0. Celtic's history in the Champions League away from home points to the fact that they could get a drubbing. I'm not looking like that. I'm very much the optimist, the eternal optimist, glass half full. They'll take a contingent of supporters away to Spain to enjoy the occasion, and they will give them their backing and their all. And they're playing for them. They're playing for you and I. Playing for hundreds of thousands of people across the world, just willing them to get that first meaningful win on Spanish soil. And we're not alone. There's thousands of people around the world willing this, and also they're due a slice of luck, fortune, rub of the green, call it what you like. So, and I keep getting back to it, why not tonight? And we know the enormity of the task. We know how good this team is. don't care. I genuinely don't care. It's all about what Celtic do. You talk about controlling the controllables. You stay in this game for as long as you can. And if you stay in this game for as long as you can, then you've got a chance to win it. Because you're a good team yourself and you're on that stage on merit and you're learning how to play at this level. It's unrelenting, it's unforgiving. But I tell you what, the highs are wonderful if you can achieve them. Go and achieve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much to somebody in the comments. The kid got his team spot on this morning. I thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The
With
kid.
40, yeah. Billy the kid's got a much better ring than Ryan the kid. Or McGinlay the kid, or whatever you want to say. That's 40 minutes. 40 minutes has passed since we started this preview. I think we'd be best leaving it where it is just now and then reconvening after the game. We've went on for 40 minutes. I hope we've managed to calm some of the nerves from people, or maybe up the decibels in terms of the excitement for the upcoming game. Yeah, maybe. Do you know what? As long as we're affecting people, then I think we'll take that whatever way it comes. We really do appreciate everybody's comments and contributions tonight. Once again, we thank our sponsors as always, which is MPH Group. 2 wee seconds, and I will get the wee note up. 2 seconds. This is the thing when you refresh your page and you take everything away, all of your tabs go away as well. So we thank MPH Group once again for sponsoring this video. They'll be sponsoring the post-match video too. They are Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. Winter's rolling in, and if you're looking for giving your home heating system a boost, then MPH have an enticing Navien Boiler Winter Promotion just for you. When you opt for a Navien Boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top-tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller. This little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top, they're covering the first year's service, no added costs. And if you're wondering why Navien, they're gunning for Product of the Year at H&V News Awards, the Oscars of the heating world. And to top it all off, the Navien ON range comes with a 12-year parts and labour warranty. That's some serious peace of mind right there. A big shout out once again to MPH as well. They're nominated for Small Company of the Year at the same awards. MPH even offer flexible finance options, so gear up for the chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navien, and all the links are in the description. And the banner at the bottom, I'll just go to it right now. Subscribe to the Celtic Way, £4 for 4 months. Instant analysis will be on there. An opinion piece from Tony will be on there tomorrow morning. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Please check out MPH Group and please check out the Celtic Way website. The link is in the description below and it's in the ticker tape below as well. Tony, 25 minutes until kickoff. Looking forward to this one. 25 minutes to go until Celtic kick off in the match day 4 of the Champions League. I want a quick prediction from you. What do you think the score is going to be, and first goal scorer, if at all there's going to be a first goal scorer for Celtic?
Okay, seeing as how we've been as confident as we can be and big them up, I'll go for an unbelievable 1-0 win to Celtic. Kyogo to do the Joe Craig and score 3 times in the Champions League consecutively since 1977. I'm going to be optimistic, Ryan.
I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. Bernardo and Kyogo to score. I just get a funny feeling that Bernardo will prove a lot of people wrong tonight and be worthy of his inclusion. You know, he played Saturday, played quite well, had a couple of chances. No better time to break your duck than tonight in the Champions League, I reckon. So that would be a great time for him. Tony, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. We will be back as soon as we can after the game, once we get the Q&As sorted, once we get the instant analysis sorted as well. So we'll try and be on for about maybe 10, 11 o'clock, but we will endeavour to bring you a live show tonight. Tony, thanks for joining me.
Our pleasure as always. Result dependent, guys. Go and enjoy it. Enjoy the spectacle. And, here's hoping Celtic do us all proud, really.
Fingers crossed, do us proud, get us 3 points or a point if 3 points isn't available, then get a point. But make sure you come out of the Metropolitano with something, whether that be pride, a point or 3 points. As long as Celtic do the business and put in a performance to be proud of, then I think we'll all be proud of as a result. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back later on. But until then, enjoy the game and fingers crossed for a good Celtic result. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.